slightly different, well at least unique, in that I've never done a video titled like this before, but it's not too different from the kind of like Reddit story videos that are popular that we do here on the channel. But today we're going to be taking a look at creepy urban legends. Now, I don't believe these are going to be the typical ones like Bigfoot and Yeti and things like that. Instead, these are kind of the ones that might go under the radar, or you'd only know about if you're from that state in America or you live in America, which I don't. So I'm sure I'm bound to find this super interesting. So it is the creepiest urban legend from every state. And we're going to take a slow, whispered look through them all together. So hopefully you find this video entertaining as well as relaxing. That is always the aim. But without further ado, let's get into the first one. So we begin with Alabama, and I believe we'll be going through alphabetically. So for Alabama, we have Hell's Gate Bridge. And by the way, I've got a nice cup of tea next to me, which I'll be going back to throughout the video. So, the generally accepted story of Hell's Gate Bridge starts in the 1950s. A young couple driving over the bridge somehow drove their car off it one night and they both drowned. There are two legends associated with Hell's Gate Bridge. One, if you drive your car out to the middle of the bridge and turn off the lights, the couple will magically appear in your car and leave a wet spot on the seat. The other, which is how the bridge got its name, is the belief that if you drive over the bridge and look over your shoulder halfway through, the scenery behind you turns into a portal to hell engulfed in flames. Potentially to curb ghost hunters and bored teenagers, Hell's Gate Bridge is closed to cars, and it is in such disrepair that walking across is strongly discouraged. That's a shame. I had a good idea for an America road trip ASMR video. AllSorts ASMR tests urban legends. Imagine. Moving on to Alaska, the Kushtaka of the Alaskan Triangle. Everyone knows the story of the Bermuda Triangle, but you might not know about the Alaskan Triangle. On average, 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing in Alaska, according to the LA Times. So even if there's nothing supernatural going on, it's easy to get lost in the Alaskan wilderness. The Tlingit tribe, who live in Juneau, have their own explanation for the high number of missing people. Evil spirits called the Kushtaka. The Kushtaka are shapeshifters, half man, half otter, who lure women and children to the water with fake cries in order to steal their human spirits and drown them. A nice sip of tea while we move on to the next one, which is Arizona, of course. The Ghosts of Slaughterhouse Canyon. The Ghosts of Slaughterhouse Canyon. The story of Slaughterhouse Canyon, also called the less frightening Luanas Canyon, takes place during the Gold Rush. During the 1800s, there was a family who lived down in the canyon. They were very poor, so the father would venture out into the canyon for food for his family. As you might have guessed, one day the father did not return, so his family slowly starved and descended into madness. The mother, unable to bear listening to her children's cries anymore, put on her wedding dress, murdered her children, and threw them into the nearby river. The next day she succumbed to starvation herself. The legend states that if you go down to Slaughterhouse Canyon at night, even now you will hear the loud, anguished cries of the mother who lost her mind. In Arkansas, legend says that he roams the creeks of rural Arkansas. He was first spotted in 1834 when people reported seeing a wild man. People still claim to spot the Boggy Creek monster today, and he has been the subject of 5 feature-length films, including 1972's The Legend of Boggy Creek. For California, we have the Charman. The Charman's origin story is gruesome. A father and son were both caught in a house fire and horribly burned in 1948. After the fire, the son became so mentally unstable that he killed his father. When the police found the son, he was so unrecognisably burned they didn't realise he was alive, so he ran away before they were able to arrest him for the murder. The story goes that ever since then, the Charman can be spotted wandering the woods surrounding Ojai, occasionally approaching tents of innocent campers, or pretending to be a hitchhiker and then attempting to attack them. Apologies for the creaking, my brother's home from uni and I can't avoid him. Next up is Colorado, the many legends of Riverdale Road. Riverdale Road is the site of not one but 8 creepy stories, ranging from a hellgate to ghosts of slaves hanging from the trees. The stretch of road is decidedly spooky. The creepiest story, though, is that of the phantom jogger. One day there was a driver who hit a jogger, freaked out and left him for dead. Now it's said that if you park at the site of the crash, you'll hear disembodied footsteps getting closer and closer to your car. People have reported handprints on their windows and banging noises as if someone was kicking the outside. In Connecticut, Anna Cranna, known as the Wicked Witch of Monroe, Anna Cranna gained a reputation as a witch in the 19th century when her husband died by mysteriously falling off a cliff. Locals reportedly believed that she had bewitched him. People also believed that she would cast spells on people she did not like. Anna lived to the age of 77, but right before she died, she asked to be carried down to the cemetery in her coffin by foot, not a wagon. After her death, the people of Monroe tried to wheel her coffin down the hill but were unable. The coffin kept falling off, so they were forced to carry it. When the townspeople returned to her home, it was found to be engulfed in flames, sealing Anna's reputation of witchcraft. Now you can visit her real grave in Trumbull. The ghost of Mr. Chew. Mr. Chew sounds like a really bad bootleg chewing gum brand. This is for Delaware. While not a particularly mean-spirited ghost, Samuel Chew's story is still disconcerting. Chew was the Chief Justice of the Delaware Supreme Court in 1741. As the story goes, while he was alive, he didn't always get the respect he deserved. People frequently made fun of his name by mimicking sneezes while he walked by. Well, great banter. After his death, people reported seeing his ghost sitting under a poplar tree, watering the courthouse, and generally creeping out the residents of Dover. Chew would also pull on men's coattails and give women a cold, icy feeling. Florida, the gravity-defying Spook Hill. The phenomenon that happens at Spook Hill is real. Cars that are parked in neutral will appear to roll uphill. Legend received congressional approval in 1946. However, they just decided to let the water cover up the towns rather than demolishing them. Now Lake Lania has a decidedly eerie feel about it. There have been an unusual number of freak accidents and deaths on the lake. In 2011 there were 17 deaths alone. Many of the people who drowned have been recovered. People have reported feeling arms and legs in the water but have not been able to find them right after, leading people to believe that spirits still roam the lake. But if they evacuated the town, why on earth would it be haunted? Would be my question to that one. Next we have the night marches in Hawaii. According to Hawaiian law, night marches are not evil spirits, but they do demand respect. They are spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors who march around the islands to protect sacred areas. Legend says that if you look directly at a night marcher, you will be marked for death. And if by some chance you find yourself in the middle of a procession, you are supposed to lie down in the middle of the road. In Idaho, we have the water babies of Massacre Rocks. Water babies are a Native American legend that are found in a couple of different places in America, but most famously in Pocatello, and the Massacre Rocks State Park. The Shoshone tribe was first recorded in 1805 and were roaming the Great Plains as early as the 1500s. So it's not clear when exactly this legend originated, but the story goes that the Shoshone experienced an extreme famine, and mothers were forced to drown their babies in the river rather than watch their children starve. Today, some people claim that if you sit quietly at the river by Massacre Rocks, you'll hear the sound of babies crying. Other stories say these babies grew gills and fins and survived, and now they seek revenge on their mothers by luring unsuspecting victims to their deaths in the river. Illinois has Homie the Clown. Throughout the suburbs of Chicago in the 90s, there was a rumour going around elementary schools. There was a creepy man dressed as Homie the Clown, yes, from In Living Colour, driving around in a white van trying to lure kids into it with candy and money. In some variations he was a kidnapper, in others he was an essayist. But in all variations, Homie left a mark on young Chicago kids in the 90s. Okay, moving on. Indiana. Put that down gently. The 100 Steps Cemetery. The 100 Steps Cemetery is located in the town of Brazil, though the official address is actually disputed. While it's not clear when the stories about the cemetery being haunted began, there are gravestones that date back to the 1860s. The legend states that if someone finds themselves in the cemetery at midnight, they must climb the steps and count to 100. At this point, a ghost of an undertaker will appear and show the person a vision of their death. On the way back down, the visitor is supposed to count the steps again. If they count the same amount of steps, the vision was false. People who visited the cemetery in the past have tried to outsmart the supernatural forces in 100 steps by avoiding the steps altogether. They've reported being knocked or shoved to the ground by an unseen force. In Iowa, we have the Black Angel. The Black Angel stands over 8 feet tall in Oakland Cemetery in Iowa City, and she is black due to oxidation. most likely because of her dark appearance, multiple legends have cropped up around her. One legend says that a pregnant woman should never walk under her or she'll lose the child. Delightful. Others say that if you touch or kiss the statue, you'll be dead within 6 months. Well, yeah, if you kiss a statue, who knows what disease you're gonna get, so that doesn't surprise me one bit. Whether haunted, cursed, or completely harmless, the statue is definitely a sombre sight to see. Kansas, the Devil's Chair, the Devil's Chair. The legend goes like this. An old farmer in Alma refused to sell his land to the city in order to build a new cemetery. Someone got a little too tired of waiting for him to sell, so he was pushed into his own well. Eventually, someone said that there was a terrible smell coming from said well, so the city sent somebody to investigate. It was ruled that the well was empty and it was boarded up. Now, if you make your way to Alma, you can actually sit on the boarded up well. But legend says that people who have sat on the well have been known to mysteriously disappear. Of course they have. In Kentucky, the Goat Man of Pope Lick. The Goat Man. Interesting. There's no clear consensus on how the Goat Man came to be. Some say he was a circus performer, others say he was a farmer who tortured his goats for Satan, and in return was transformed into a hideous goat monster. However, everyone does agree on his appearance: dark fur, pale skin, goat legs, and horns. The monster is said to hide under the bridge at Boblik Creek in Louisville to lure people onto the train tracks, only to see them be hit by oncoming trains. Sadly, this urban legend had some dangerous consequences. In 2016, an Ohio woman fell to her death from the bridge while looking for the Goat Man. Yeah, that is sad. Louisiana, we've got the Grunch. The Grunch. Grunch Road is an old dirt road that leads deep into the woods and eventually to a dead end. It was a favourite place for teenagers to go and do whatever teenagers do until they learned about the Grunch. The Grunch is rumoured to be a group of deformed, half-human, half-monsters that resulted from years of isolation in the Louisiana base. In the present day, it's said if you find yourself on Grunch Road, don't get out of the car if you see a goat who looks injured. The stories say that the Grunch uses goats to lure people out of their cars so they can eat them and drain their blood. Blood, 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 blood. Don't know why I chose to repeat that word as a trigger word. In Maine, we have the mysterious stain on Colonel Jonathan Buck's tomb. Don't know where this one's going. The tomb of Colonel Jonathan Buck in Bucksport bears a mysterious leg-shaped stain. Okay. The story goes that Buck sentenced a woman to burn for witchcraft, and while she was burning, her leg rolled out of the fire. It's also been said that the witch cursed Buck's tomb to always bear a stain for this injustice. It is said that people have tried to get rid of the stain twice, but it keeps reappearing. Nice. In Maryland, we have Jesse the Chesapeake Bay Monster. Jesse sightings have been around since the 1930s, but really started to pick up steam in the 80s, when photographic evidence became more readily available. Jesse is said to resemble a snake, measure around 30 feet long, and is the approximate thickness of a telephone pole. There haven't been any recorded attacks from Jesse, but a 30-foot-long snake does not sound like something most people would want to run into. In Massachusetts, we have the spirits of Hoosac Tunnel. In the 24-year-long construction of the Hoosac Tunnel in western Massachusetts, approximately 200 men died. Death was so associated with the tunnel that it was actually nicknamed the Bloody Pit, after a particularly gruesome explosion in either 1867 or 1868. 13 miners were trapped inside the tunnel. The other workers assumed that the miners had died, but eventually it was discovered they had lived, built a raft to combat flooding, and eventually died due to poisonous gas inhalation. It's said that these 13 miners haunted the tunnel for years, moaning and briefly appearing as ghosts. Next up we have the little girl on Knock Knock Road for Michigan. The legend of Knock Knock Road says there was a little girl who was murdered on Knock Knock Road in the Detroit area, and now appears to drivers at their car window, knocking, trying to find the person who killed her. The Kensington Runestone, Kensington, in Minnesota. In 1898, a Swedish-American farmer found a gigantic slab of rock on his farm that had symbols that appeared to be Norse, and since then no one has figured out where it came from. While official historians have debunked that the Vikings made an appearance in North America before Columbus did, the myth has persisted, and if it wasn't the Vikings, who did leave this mysterious rock, and what does it say? For Mississippi, we have Deer Island's haunted treasure. The ghost of Deer Island originates from an old pirate story. The story says that back in the 1920s, two men were fishing on Deer Island when they heard rustling in the bushes, a noise they assumed was caused by wild hogs. Eventually they decided to check it out and encountered a headless skeleton. They ran back to their boat and the skeleton followed them all the way there. According to the pirate story, there was a ship that sailed into Biloxi Bay and buried their treasure on Deer Island. The crew decided to behead one of their own and left his body behind to guard the treasure. Momo, the Missouri Monster. Momo is Missouri's version of Bigfoot. He's been said to have a terrible body odour, a pumpkin-shaped head, and an appetite for dogs, until the dogs thing you could have been describing my dad. In 1968, Momo reportedly tried to abduct a 4-year-old boy, though no evidence was ever found. Montana, the story of Sacrifice Cliff. The story of Sacrifice Cliff comes from an old Native American legend. Two members of the Crow tribe arrived in their village from a trip to find that almost everyone there had been infected with smallpox and died. So heartbroken about the loss of their loved ones, the two decided to blindfold their horses and ride off the cliff to join the tribe on the other side. Sacrifice Cliff is visible from almost anywhere in Billings, so it's sad and a bit spooky to think about this story while the cliff is looming over the entire city. For Nebraska now, the poisoned girl at Centennial Hall. People claim that multiple ghosts roam the halls of Centennial Hall. But the creepiest story of Centennial Hall originates in the 1940s when it used to be a high school. The story says that a student was playing his clarinet, suffered a heart attack and died because a reed was poisoned. Now people claim to feel cold spots, hear disembodied music, and to have witnessed an empty rocking chair start to rock. scary, more famous than Nevada's Area 51, a mysterious government facility that is rumoured to be associated with aliens. The US government officially states that Area 51 is classified due to national security, which only fuels the fire. The Witch of Hampton Goody Cole, and this is in New Hampshire. Eunice Goody Cole was the only woman in New Hampshire history to be tried for witchcraft multiple times. Her first charge was in 1656, and she was charged again in 1671. When she died, her body was recovered. The townspeople were rumoured to have staked her through the heart to prevent her from haunting their town. People continue to blame Goody Cole for the misfortunes of Hampton's citizens for the past 300 years. For example, a boat full of Hampton residents overturned and everyone on board drowned, even though they were in swimming distance of the shore. People blamed Goody Cole for the crash and for cursing the passengers by having them forget how to swim. Next one, we have New Jersey, the Jersey Devil, the Jersey Devil. The story of the Jersey Devil has been around since the 1700s. The legend states that a woman named Mother Leeds became pregnant with her 13th child and said, "Let this one be the devil." Once the child was born, it grew hooves, wings, horns, and a tail. Now the monster has been spotted periodically throughout history in the Pine Barrens region of New Jersey. The state has embraced the legend so much that they named their hockey team after it. In New Mexico, we have La Mala Hora. La Mala Hora, which translates to the evil hour, is an entity that you don't want to run into on a dark road. Legend says that at first it appears as a ball of black energy, constantly moving and changing its size and shape. If you look at it, it will drive you insane and will slowly kill you. At other times it appears as a scary looking woman. It's said that if you see her at a crossroads, you or someone in your family will die. For New York, we have Cropsey. The story of Cropsey has many iterations, but it generally tells the story of a man who stalked a sleepaway camp / psychiatric facility / children's hospital, had a hook for a hand and killed children who were wandering alone at night. Every single person who went to camp in upstate New York has heard about Cropsey. Things took a more sinister turn when a documentary posited that Cropsey was actually real. A convicted child kidnapper named Andre Rand. In North Carolina, we have the Beast of Bladenborough. In the 1950s, multiple dogs were found dead and drained of blood in the North Carolina town of Bladenborough. People believed that there was a vampiric beast in the woods, and they tried to hunt the animal. Today, the town of Bladenborough has embraced its history, and residents actually hold a beast fest every year. While some people are convinced the beast was probably a particularly large bobcat, it's never been confirmed exactly what was stalking their town. For North Dakota, the story of White Lady Lane is a tragic one. The legend states that a young woman became pregnant out of wedlock, and her religious parents forced her to marry the father. The baby ended up dying after their wedding. The girl, so upset about her baby and her forced marriage, hanged herself from a bridge in her wedding dress. Locals claim to still see her ghost hanging from the bridge. Lovely ASMR story, that. In Ohio, the Werewolf of Defiance. During the summer of 1972, the sounds like a standard day in Ohio. Oklahoma, the mysterious shaman's portal. The mysterious occurrences in Beaver Dunes Park have been attributed to the fact that it was built upon ancient Native American burial grounds. Yet again, when will people learn don't do anything on burial grounds? Which is why it's called the Shaman's Portal. It's also known as the Oklahoma-Bermuda Triangle. Mysterious things have happened in the park, starting with this Spanish conquistadors who went missing while searching for gold in the 1500s. Since then, paranormal activity seekers flock to the dunes. Some people claim that a UFO crashed there, and a group in the 90s who tested the soil said it was abnormal. Not the soil, oh my gosh. In Oregon, the Bandage Man of Cannon Beach. The Bandage Man is the American version of a mummy. He is rumoured to be the ghost of a logger who died in a sawmill accident and now terrorises teenagers who hang out at a deserted area of a highway near Cannon Beach. Stories say that he knocks on car windows to try and get in and smells really, really bad. In Pennsylvania, the bus to nowhere. In Philadelphia, there's rumoured to be a bus that doesn't have an end destination. The story says that the bus only picks up passengers that are at their lowest moments, who need to get away from their problems. Once the passenger is ready to face the world, they can get off the bus. But the passenger has no idea how long they've been on the bus for. It could have been hours, days, or even years. In Rhode Island, the Devil's Footprints. There's a rock on Devil's Foot Road that appears to show a normal human footprint and a cloven hoof. The story goes that a Native American woman murdered a white man and fled the scene of the crime. While running, she was stopped by another man. She cried out for the devil to save her. When the man admitted that he himself was the devil and stomped his feet on the ground to prove that he had a cloven hoof, which the rock still shows to this day. In South Carolina, we have the death of Julia Laguerre. In the 1800s, the Laguerres were a well-to-do South Carolinian family that had homes on the mainland and on Edisto Island. The daughter Julia got sick, was pronounced dead, and was buried inside their family mausoleum. Years later, another member of the Laguerre family died, and when their tomb was opened up, the remains of Julia were found inside a coffin. The story says that Julia had been in a coma and had woken up to try and escape her tomb, but sadly died. After the first reopening of the Laguerre mausoleum, the door can't seem to stay shut. The Laguerres tried multiple different doors, and every single time the door was found open. People believe that the ghost of Julia did not want to be locked in the tomb any longer. South Dakota. Walking Sam and the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Purportedly over 7 feet tall and very slim. Sounds like me. Walking Sam is said to appear on the streets of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation at night, and he tries to convince teenagers to take their own lives. Whether or not Walking Sam is real, something tragic is going on at the reservation. From December 2014 to May 2015, there are 103 suicide attempts at Pine Ridge. The boy in the bathroom at Pine Haven School, and this is for Tennessee. The Pine Haven School, located in Jamestown, is old and abandoned and of course said to be haunted. tragic story supposedly took place there, where a boy was cornered by a group of bullies in the bathroom and shoved into a mirror which shattered and killed him. To avoid getting caught committing murder, the bullies decided to bury the body beneath the floorboards. Today people say that if you look inside the school, you can see the reflection of the boy if you look in the mirror. In Texas we have the Candy Lady. In the early 1900s, children in an unnamed rural town in Texas started to go missing, and the residents blamed it on the Candy Lady. The story says that she would go around leaving candy on children's windows, and eventually she'd lure them out with notes attached promising more candy. The story picked up steam when a farmer allegedly found rotten teeth on his farm, and later found the body of a boy with his pockets stuffed with candy. While little is known about the origin of this story, some have speculated that the Candy Lady was real and that her name was Clara Crane. How many more have we got? I believe we have like 7 or 8 left. So let's get through them. Let's see what is next. We now travel to Utah for the curse of the Escalante Petrified Forest. While it is illegal to take anything from the Escalante Petrified Forest State Park, there is a legend that says that anyone who takes pieces of petrified wood from the park will be cursed with bad luck, sickness and accidents. Park manager Kendall Farnsworth stated in 2014 that he gets about a dozen packages every year containing a piece of wood from the park and an apologetic letter detailing the sender's misfortunes. For Vermont, we have the Frozen People. First appearing in a diary that was published in the late 1800s, the legend of the hibernating old people recounts the tale of a poor family outside of Montpelier who couldn't afford to feed and clothe the oldest members of their family, so they froze the people and buried them. According to the tale, when spring rolled around, the elders thawed out and were just fine. I've definitely heard of this one. In Virginia we have the Bunny Man. The Bunny Man's legend starts with what every good urban legend starts with: an insane asylum. The people of Clifton were so up in arms about the asylum that they were able to get all of the patients transferred. The patients were being moved on a bus that crashed, and the police were able to catch all the patients except one, the Bunny Man. According to the tale, the Bunny Man lived in the woods and sustained himself on woodland creatures, but eventually began attacking humans. Some people reported being attacked by a man with a hatchet. Other tales say that groups of teens would see a bright light and then would wind up dead and strung up over a bridge. Another well-known one for Washington, we have Bigfoot. Bigfoot is an internationally recognizable name and it's been spotted all over the country. But Bigfoot has been spotted the most in Washington state. He is essentially a gigantic ape-like creature who is either a ferocious beast who attacks loggers and hikers, or a gentle giant who wants to be left alone. Either way, there's something creepy about an undiscovered species of animal wandering around the Pacific Northwest, evading capture. In West Virginia, we have Mothman. In 1966, stories say that West Virginia was visited by an insectoid flying creature with bright red eyes who resembled both a moth and a man. He was spotted flying around the town of Point Pleasant along with shining lights and the Men in Black. Scout lane varies, but they all end up with the same conclusion. A group of Boy Scouts dead on the road. Nice. In some stories, there was a bus crash but no survivors, or they were murdered by their bus driver, or they just mysteriously vanished into the woods one by one. Visitors have reported seeing a swinging body in the trees, feeling as though they're being watched, and also finding child-sized handprints. Now everybody, we conclude, last but not least, with Wyoming. Shout out if you're from Wyoming. We have Devil's Tower. There's no scientific consensus on why Devil's Rock looks the way it does, but one Native American creation story attributes the landmark's shape to a tragedy. According to the story, a large group of Cheyenne girls were attacked and killed by a bear. Two escaped and found help from two boys, who convinced the girls to act as bait. They climbed to the top of the tower, and the bear tried to follow. The boys shot at the bear, and it finally gave up, leaving scratches on